DJI Osmo Nano has been my absolutely favorite tool I purchased last year for my POV / behind the scenes content. I literally bought this the day it came out after seeing this reel on Instagram, and I used it quite extensively since then. Today I want to give you my long-term review, the good and the bad, with lots of different samples from weddings and photo shoots. This video is not sponsored by DJI. I bought this with my own money and I have no affiliation and never had any affiliation with DJI, although I wish I had because I spent a lot of money on their tools over the years because I found them really great for what I do. So DJI, please contact me. If you're new around here, my name is Magic and I'm a destination wedding photographer. I've been shooting weddings all over the world for the last 14 years. And since COVID, I also run this YouTube channel publishing videos every week about cameras, lenses, and other gear and software for wedding photographers, so subscribe if you're into that. So DJI Osmo Nano is a really tiny camera. You could say smaller version of like typical action camera that can detach from the screen. There's like a screen unit, detach from the screen and place it nearly anywhere you want through either dedicated mounts or simply magnetic back. The reel that I saw that made me buy this tool was the one showing a guy attaching this camera to a Canon camera like this without any accessories, though I then learned that it doesn't work on Sony because the hot shoe is aluminum, I think. What I personally ended up using is this action cam mount from SmallRig, which is actually not a dedicated mount for Osmo Nano, but it does work. The profile for that is not super low, so when I'm going to attach this here and here, as you can see, it's not like extremely low, but it can swivel if you want. So it has like kind of different functionality than other low-profile mounts. When researching for this video, I actually found that SmallRig now also makes like a more flash one, like dedicated for Osmo Nano. So if you want your Nano to be closer to the camera, you can check this one out. I personally use 3 different ways of mounting this camera. I'm going to talk about this in the video and show you a bunch of examples and my experience with all of those. But first, I just want to quickly cover the tech specs and what does that mean in practice, so image quality and so on. So Osmo Nano has a rather small sensor. It's a 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor, so it's smaller than 1 inch sensors that you find these days in many action cameras or in camera like Osmo Pocket 3 that I personally use all the time for various stuff on this channel. It does have built-in microphone, actually 2 microphones I think. They sound like this. Yeah, bump and look at each other, okay? 1, 2, 3, come. Up. Go faster, go faster. Yeah. Perfect, beautiful. Look at each other. Perfect, beautiful. Okay, stop for a second. Belly to belly, please. And I want one picture. Which is, you know, it's okay, but if you need a good sound, you can simply connect any DJI mics to it. I personally use DJI Mic 2s for that. And now hold hands and walk towards me, please. Keep walking, yep. Little jumpy moves out of stairs, plum plum. Camera is waterproof, so you can actually use it under the water for some limited time, I guess. But obviously I, as a wedding photographer, have no need for that. But I did use it under both rain and waterfall, so I got it quite wet and it did work really well. I had 0 issues with it. Yeah, and again, the unit comes in 2 pieces. One is just the camera part and the second part is that detachable screen unit. The top part, so camera part, charges only via the screen unit. Also, the screen part is the one that have micro SD card slot. The top, the camera part, has only built-in memory of either 64 gigs or 128 gigs, depending on which version you're buying. So after filming, you need to attach the camera unit to the screen unit to dump the footage to the memory card and make space on the camera unit to film more. Now, I have comments to all of this, starting with image quality and different formats you can use. The biggest use case of Nano for me is to replace my crappy Ray-Ban BTS footage. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my Ray-Ban Meta glasses, this amazing device for what it can do, but the quality is quite meh, at least on the Gen 1 that I have. The footage is only vertical and there's a recording limit of 3 minutes. Well, none of this is an issue on Osmo Nano. First of all, you can mount it both vertically and horizontally, but then on top of that, you can film in 4:3 format, which gives you flexibility to have content working for both horizontal and vertical. And that's what I personally do. So I set mine to 4K resolution, 4:3 aspect ratio, 25 FPS because I'm in Europe, and then rock steady stabilization, which crops the footage a bit. It gives equivalent of 15mm lens field of view. I personally shoot it in auto exposure. I don't play with any filters or anything like that. Auto white balance, and then D-Log M format with texture set to -2. This is how the raw footage looks. Then I apply a DJI's official LUT to it, and then some film conversion grading on top of this. So that's kind of how the final image looks. And that's it, like as simple as that. Here's a full 4:3 clip. This is how it looks when I crop it to 16:9 for YouTube videos. And this is how it looks when I crop it to 9:16 vertical for social media. You can see different clips here, different conditions, so you can get the idea of the image quality even at night when it's dark. For me, it's great. I have no comments or really need for something like better. And don't get me wrong, if there's a better version, like a Gen 2 version, I'll probably upgrade simply because I like this device so much and I do want to make one change when I buy the next one. But just to give you my perspective on these all small tools and cameras and use cases for it, I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not using them to film, you know, like actual videos, I don't know, like films or short films and so on. I use it for my BTS and POV stuff and like content on YouTube. So for me, the quality is okay. For many of my videos, I now use DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which replaced my A7S III because it's just so convenient. And after DJI launching the DJI Osmo Pocket 4 and 4P, I simply don't have a desire to upgrade because what I have just works really fine for what I do. Now, I want to show you how this footage looks for a photographer looking to do a POV, depending on how you mount the camera. My absolute favorite mount for the best POV perspective is actually the hat mount. So it comes in the box, it's included. And the reason is that with the hat mount, I have the most perfect perspective of what I exactly see with my eyes. So for educational purposes, I find this to be top. Like, look at this clip. There's a full video of this behind the scenes, by the way, from a couple photo shoot in Norway. You can watch it on my channel, but you can see here how I turn my head, what I'm looking at, what light my eyes are drawn to, which helps me educate how I shoot. The downsides, it's quite annoying to have like the camera like hanging in front of your face. Having this on top of my hat limits a bit of my vision. And it does work best when you're using a camera in your hands and shooting using the screen, not necessarily the viewfinder, because when you put it to your eyes, you might just block the camera. Because I'm mostly shooting with viewfinder, I use this specifically when I shot Sigma BF, which is the camera that doesn't have viewfinder. So I could use that point of view and it works really fine. The second mounting type I use for this camera is the hot shoe mounting. And as I said, I use the DJI Action mount from Small Rig. So it's not perfectly made for this camera. You can even feel that the magnets are a little bit off, but it does work. You can attach it to the camera and it stays there perfectly fine. With this mount, the footage is actually perfect in my opinion. Like depending obviously on what camera or lens combo you're using, you're gonna see your lens in the frame. The good thing about the mount that I have is that you can swivel, so you can change the angle, so you can actually see more or less of the lens. For my contents, of the type of content that I make, so BTS for YouTube and so on, I do prefer to keep the lens visible. And to be honest, I have almost zero notes for this setup except one. If I shoot with more than one camera, like that setup just doesn't work. If I shoot with 2 or even 3 cameras at the wedding, it's not really usable because it's gonna only give me a perspective of one camera, so every time I'm gonna change it, it will be filming a floor or grass. So I use this mount, this type of mount, whenever I just have a single camera. So I'm testing a camera, for example. I was testing R6 Mark III by Canon, and I just had this on my camera all the time because I was using one camera. So the third mounting type I used, it's the one that is also included in the box, is this kind of magnetic pendant. So this whoop, like this. So what do you do with this? You put this underneath your shirt, and then you attach your camera either vertically like this or horizontally like this. This is probably my most used mounting type due to the fact that it's easier for me to mount it like this than on my hat. I don't really feel it, and it doesn't really bother me. Also, like, it works with more than one camera. The biggest issues would be for me using the viewfinder, because then when I just put my camera like this to my eye, I'm a little bit blocking the view, especially with multiple cameras. It's still quite usable and it does work, but it would work way better if I would be just using the screen to compose and shoot, which I personally don't do that much, but you can still see that footage ends up looking really nice, even though I'm sometimes blocking the view. So now, with those 3 ways of mounting, I actually have been using all of them depending on what I want to achieve and like what I'm shooting currently. So on the wedding days, since I use multiple cameras and I don't want Osmo Nano to be in the way, I mount it on my chest. For educational BTS YouTube videos, I'll mount it on my hat. And whenever I just use a single camera, I'm just gonna mount this on my camera so I get the best perspective of what my camera sees. Now, I do have few gripes with it or regrets, and it's not all perfect, but before I go over them, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of this section of the video, which is PicTime. PicTime is the gallery service that I use to deliver my photos to my clients, and I've been using it for years, and it's one of those tools that it's just a no-brainer for a professional wedding photographer. My couples, they get a beautiful gallery, they can download their photos, they can mark their favorites, they can order prints, share the gallery with family, and I don't really have to think about it. But recently they launched PicTime 2.0, and this is probably the biggest update they have ever done. The whole gallery experience has been redesigned. Like, galleries, they feel much more modern, much more premium, and they're also far more customizable, and there's more changes coming, to be honest. You can now create cinematic gallery covers with animations, videos, different layouts, and fonts, so your gallery actually feels like an extension of your brand instead of just another web page. For clients, navigation is also much better, everything feels faster, cleaner, and works beautifully on mobile, which is where most people actually view their wedding galleries these days. One of my favorite features is the new AI search. Instead of scrolling through thousands of wedding photos, your clients can simply search for things like kiss or flowers or rings, or even take a selfie to instantly find photos of themselves. It is surprisingly good, and honestly, it just feels like magic. And of course, all the business tools are still there, so built-in print cells, album proofing, marketing automations, blogs, slideshows, basically everything I need after I finish editing a wedding. If you are still delivering weddings with Dropbox link or Google Drive link or another link, please stop. I do recommend giving PicTime a try. I will leave my link down below. With my code MAGIC, you get extra month for free on top of the free month that you get when you sign up. And yeah, make sure to check it out. Okay, now let's talk about bad things with Osmo Nano. It's not all perfect. And I want to start with battery life. So the camera unit, when it's detached from the screen with my settings, so 4K 25, will record footage for around 45 minutes. Then you need to connect this to the screen to charge it. It's not super bad, but first time I used it, I just mounted on my hat and I started rolling during a shoot, not knowing that it will die mid-shoot and I do need to charge it. The charging is rather quick because it will charge up to 80% in like 15 minutes. So now knowing this, I just plan for it and I know that there's a break during a shoot. I'm just gonna mount it to the camera and recharge. If you need a longer runtime at 4K, you can use endurance mode, which lowers the bitrate but extends the battery life to like over an hour. So I am personally fine with that 45 minutes now, especially that I know that I have to charge it. And especially, and here comes my second gripe, or rather regret, the version I bought is the 64 gigabyte version, so not the 128. So when buying this camera, like, remember, it was day one, so there was not much news about this camera. It just came out. I just bought it. I thought I don't need more internal storage because I'll put my 512 memory card in the camera, and that's what I did. I failed to realize that when filming along behind-the-scenes sequences at 4K 30, the internal storage of 64 gigs only lasts for about 58 minutes of footage. And then I do have to connect it to the screen and copy the files from internal camera to the memory card to continue recording. It kind of works together with the fact that I still need to charge the battery as well after 45 minutes. Again, now knowing I have to take a break, I have to mount it, or, and so on. But still, with my current practical experience with the unit, I would gladly spend more to just have more peace of mind and not think about connecting it to, copy the photos. Especially copying the photos just takes time. I also had people in the comments of my, initial impressions video asking if I had some overheating issues with it, and I personally did not. Even when I filmed the entire clip of me hiking Lion's Head in South Africa in Cape Town on a sunny day, I recorded full 45 minutes clip until I depleted the battery, so the battery was the limit for me, not overheating. I do hope that helps because this is just my real life experience with this, and you can see the footage from this camera for the POV stuff. I do really love this unit, my DJI Nano, and it did replace my Ray-Ban Meta for the most of the stuff that I do these days. So I highly recommend this if you're looking for a camera like this. If you're interested to watch a full POV from my couple shoot in Norway that I mentioned before, just watch this video right now and I will see you there.